Welcome to Just Asia, AHRC TV's weekly human rights program. These are the headlines. Calls for resignation of Pakistan's Nawaz Sharif after corruption charges. People's Tribunal on Rohingya to be held in Malaysia. Just Asia speaks to Adem Carroll. Land conflicts worsen in Indonesia. Human shield victim in India awarded compensation. Kathmandu, world's third most polluted city. Thailand's new migrant law harsh. 3 urgent appeals from Sri Lanka, Indonesia and Pakistan. Welcome to AHRC TV's Just Asia. I'm Annie Lin. This week, Just Asia begins with Pakistan, where Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif has been found guilty of corruption by the Supreme Court's Joint Investigation Team. The country's political parties and bar associations are now demanding Sharif's resignation. Constituted on the order of the Supreme Court on April 20th, the investigation team was authorized to question the Prime Minister, his 2 sons Hassan Hussain and his daughter Maryam Nawaz. The team found that Sharif's family wealth was beyond their sources of income. Evidence was found proving Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif as the owner of an offshore company, his daughter Maryam Nawaz being the beneficial owner of 2 offshore companies and 1 house in London, and his 2 sons running offshore companies in London and Panama. Furthermore, the investigation team found the financial documents submitted by the Sharif family to be doctored and thus inadmissible as proof. The team has recommended that the case of corruption against the ruling family be referred to the National Accountability Bureau under the National Accountability Ordinance (NAO) 1999, which deals with corruption and corrupt practices. Moving to Burma, the government has refused entry to the UN investigation team looking into abuses in Rakhine state against the Rohingya. In the meantime, a People's Tribunal will be held in Malaysia in September with witness testimonies regarding the atrocities committed by the Burmese military. These testimonies and evidence will then be shared with the UN team. Just Asia speaks to Adem Carroll, Burma Task Force Director for New York and UN programs, for more information.
There will be a tribunal in Malaysia regarding the atrocities committed against the Rohingya. Please tell us a bit about this and how it could help the Rohingyas.
Tribunal will take place from the 18th to the 20th of September, and then the judges will deliberate, and 2 days later, their judgment. They'll listen to witnesses talking about the persecution of the Rohingya minority, but also the Kachin. And because all the international pressure has so far failed to move Aung San Suu Kyi and her government to restore any rights to the Rohingya, we're hopeful that this will raise the profile of this need. It's quite urgent to do so, and there will be some prominent judges. I think the planners, my group, Burma Task Force, is involved in the planning, and I understand that it's still ongoing, but it will be in Malaysia, and we certainly hope that people will share the information once it's starting. I believe that it will be streaming.
Given that the Burmese government has refused visa to the UN team to investigate the abuses in Rakhine against the Rohingya, and given that local inquiries have found no evidence of abuses, what can be done now?
The local inquiries are not independent of the government or of the military in Burma, and so they're not credible, and people are afraid to talk to them in any case. That the Human Rights Council had established in March is very impressive. Academic human rights professionals, 2 of them are women and 1 is a man, a small team. But the government of Aung San Suu Kyi refuses to give them visas. Today, in fact, I heard the news that the U.S. ambassador has gotten on board and said it's important that the Burmese government allow this fact-finding mission to do its job. And I think the world in general is taking the position in this case to back the investigation. It's very uncertain whether it will be allowed. We understand that in the coming week, the Special Rapporteur for Burma, Yang Hee Lee, will be visiting Burma, but we also understand that she will not be allowed to visit certain areas, including in the Shan state. So it's very difficult to deal with the Burmese government.
Within the recent arrest of 3 journalists, there are concerns that freedom of speech is under serious attack in Burma. How has this happened under Aung San Suu Kyi's leadership?
Well, that's a very good question to keep going. I mean, Amnesty International has certainly brought to everyone's attention some of the specific cases. Also, PEN and other international groups have been reminding us. And in fact, we understand from our colleagues who are journalists in Burma that they're quite nervous right now and wonder there will be freedom of speech and also a good climate for civil society. It looks like it is getting worse, and we can't blame the military for everything. The military certainly is behind the worst abuses and the worst rights restrictions, but the NLD government of Aung San Suu Kyi is not standing up to the Burmese military much at all that we can see. That said, the international community needs to do its part. Recently, Aung San Suu Kyi visited Canada, and we understand that Canadian officials did talk quite a bit about the Rohingya persecution, and she was left feeling very rattled. And military actually wants a military lockdown in Rakhine state, we understand from very recent reports, and her government is trying to withstand that pressure, and we're very nervous that they won't. One thing I should mention, the High Commissioner for Refugees, Filippo Grandi, has been touring the region. There's a serious problem of food insecurity. The UN has been reporting that 80,000 children are having serious malnutrition, and it's actually over 200,000 people are affected by this. The closure of the camp Burma has promised, there is no way that the people will be able to earn a livelihood, and there are no answers to these questions because there's no freedom of movement. They will be on lockdown, and so there's a lot of concern and layers of questions that we have. And I should just add finally to Burma Task Force has a new anti-rape campaign. We're linking it to the tribunal in Malaysia and want to lift up this issue. 1 in 3 refugees leaving from Mangdao in October 2016, 1 in 3 of the women have been raped or subject to sexual abuse, according to UN investigations taking place in Bangladesh, in the camps there. And this is a huge amount, and this is something that Aung San Suu Kyi seeks to deny. And so if you go to our website, burmataskforce.org/rape, you will see our emerging campaign on this issue, and we hope this campaign will bring in many women's groups, and we would love to hear from people if they'd like to join.
Next, land conflicts continue in Indonesia, with 600 small-scale farmers recently losing their land in Karawang Regency, West Java Province, to the Pertiwi Lestari Company. The farmers face terror and intimidation from the company and the police, resulting in a total of 275 households leaving their homes and fleeing to Jakarta. They've been living in tents for the past 2 months with little attention from the government. The Indonesian government's push to increase international investments has led to the need for more land and development of infrastructure. This has negatively impacted on the government's land reform program of the last 10 years. The situation is worsening as the government, particularly the Minister of Agriculture, has failed to address the land grabbing occurring in industrial areas. According to the Land Reform Commission, in the last 1 year, plantation companies have caused land conflicts in 163 cases. Property companies have caused 170 cases of land conflicts. Development of infrastructure has caused 100 cases, and forestry companies have caused 25 cases of land conflicts in the country. In India, the Jammu and Kashmir State Human Rights Commission passed an order this week directing the state government to pay 1 million rupees in compensation to Farooq Dar, the civilian who was used by the Indian Army as a human shield in April. In a gross violation of human rights and rule of law, the army strapped Dar to the front of an army jeep in Gundipora to allegedly prevent stone pelters from attacking the security forces. While an inquiry was initiated against the officer responsible, Major Litul Gogoi, the Indian Army then went ahead and announced a commendation for Gogoi for sustained efforts in counterinsurgency operations. The Army's move was severely condemned by local and international rights groups, highlighting impunity for Army officers committing human rights violations. While the order awarding compensation to Dar is a breath of fresh air, it is highly disappointing that the Commission made no comment on the role of the Army in the incident. Moving to Nepal, the country's capital city of Kathmandu is increasingly becoming a dust bowl. As Kathmandu has become the world's third most polluted city, air pollution is Nepal's biggest cause of premature death, overtaking poor sanitation and lack of clean drinking water. Research indicates that the Kathmandu Valley has a high amount of polycyclic hydrocarbons, which are mutagenic and carcinogenic. Similarly, the Kathmandu Valley has 8 times the permitted level of PM2.5, which is fine particulate matter causing haze and severe respiratory infections. According to the World Health Organization, outdoor air pollution causes over 3,000 deaths annually in Nepal. The pollution and dust stems from a range of issues, including agriculture, waste burnings, brick kilns, engine emissions, and ongoing construction work. As the monsoon is just around the corner, the dusty roads will turn into muddy roads with puddles. People are dying slowly without knowing the real reason behind their deaths. Recurrent political instability has meant that authorities have done little to keep Kathmandu's pollution in check. Thailand's new migrant law imposes harsh penalties on undocumented migrant workers, causing many of them to flee back to their home countries. While the government claims that the new law is needed to clamp down on trafficking and the large number of illegal workers in Thailand, rights groups disagree. According to Human Rights Watch, the new law merely imposes bigger fines and prison terms on migrant workers without penalties on those who exploit them. The group urges the Thai government to protect migrant rights and to prosecute those who abuse them. Finally, the Urgent Appeals Weekly features 3 cases from Sri Lanka, Indonesia, and Pakistan. In Sri Lanka, it was found that 5 police officers participated in the theft of an antique Dutch lightning conductor valued at 10 million rupees and jewelry worth 550,000 rupees from amidst the GP Rojan Asmi Ratnapala. In Indonesia, a teenager drowned in a mining hole left open by the Gunung Bayan Pratama Gold Company. Reluctant to investigate the case, the local police have argued that the death falls within the scope of crime by accusation, requiring the victim's family to file a police report. According to the Indonesian Penal Code, however, the teenager's death clearly falls within the scope of non-accusation crime, and the police should investigate the case with or without a report from the victim's family. Finally, in Pakistan, the district police of Jacobabad, Sindh province, are trying to protect the persons involved in raping a constable's daughter. They have tampered with evidence and are making it difficult for the victim's family to seek justice. At the same time, the accused persons are pressuring their family to seek justice through a jirga rather than through the court system. That is all for this episode of Just Asia. For more on these and other issues, please visit www.humanrights.asia or www.ahlrc.asia/justasia. Thank you for watching and see you next week.